As the name suggests, in publication ethics, what are the challenges we face as researchers, particularly in Indian scenario. So that is what will be the talk today. And so, first of all, this is the difficult times we are passing through, and I hope you are all staying at home. Stay home, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay connected. Stay not only online but also offline with your friends, relatives, etc. Right? So that's the first thing I wanted to say. So to start with, what is research? This is not a particular webinar where I'm going to talk about the process of research as such. I assume that we know what is research and what is the research process and how you go about doing your own research as such. So just to put it in a nutshell, what is research? Research is to investigate and to collect information from many reliable sources and to organize information in a meaningful way. Once we collect the information, we organize the information in a meaningful way, we extract the meaning out of it, and then again go back and investigate certain things which we are passionate about. And then we try to establish facts and find out some new conclusions, right? We reach new conclusions. So this is what overall what we know about research, right? There's a research process. Research process starts with research idea, and then go about the literature review, and then we have some kind of theoretical formulation. We have research questions which are constituted, and then we do the research design, do the data collection, data analysis, find the answers for empirical questions. We do the theoretical interpretations. We do some comparison with the state-of-art research, and then we reach certain conclusions, right? This is the research process. This is an elaborative research process, and some of the steps may be relevant for some research area, but may not be relevant for other research areas. If we look at the research formulation as such, the entire research process is to see how to get crystal clear in our thoughts, right? Whatever research idea we have, once we make it fruitful, then the end result has to be to get clarity about what the research idea is and what are the things we have newly formulated and the conclusions we have reached. So once it is clear, crystal clear for us, we know that it will be, we will be confident enough to make others understand and realize how important it is. So going by research articles, once you have these research ideas and you conclude a few things or you come up with new conclusions, then you would like to put it in writing. And research articles is all about exploring how to represent or present your research ideas and research findings in a methodical way, right? So you have a thinking process, which is the research idea. You conduct research, then you give a representation to it and present it in a writable form, and then you have to go and edit and polish the same thing, right? It's iterative in nature. Why it is iterative in nature? That is because once you put your ideas or your thoughts on paper and read it once again, you know that what are the shortcomings of those ideas, or what else you can do, or whether your results which you have got is good to represent your idea or not, or to confirm whatever your idea was. So again, you go back and add few more things to your thought process, conduct again certain experiments or certain formulations, and then again go back and put it in the writing process, right? So this entire thing is iterative in nature until you yourself believe that whatever results you have got is good enough for sending it as or publishing it as a research article. So the main thing in the entire research process is the passion and the persistence, right? Passion is very important if you are doing research, in the sense, if you have an idea how passionate you are to conduct the research on that and get the end result out of that. And persistence, because in between, when your idea is not working or your formulations are not working, you are not getting the results which you need, you have to be persistent enough to go back and change your thinking process or look at the ideas in a different perspective, so that you reach that end goal. So passion and persistence is what is required in the entire research process. So we can divide the researcher, the research process which the researcher goes through as a pyramid. I call it as researcher pyramid. We know what is research: to investigate, collect information, organize information, establish facts, and reach new conclusions. This we know. But why we are doing research? Because we want to gather relevant information. We have that inquisitiveness built in. So the inquisitiveness is the one which drives you to question why you are doing this research, or what is your research idea, why it is a research idea, or why that exactly is a problem, research problem as such, right? That inquisitiveness is one thing which drives you to gather more relevant information. Then identify critical issues. Then how do you, once you know the how and why, then you go back and see how you can formulate a research problem, whether it is what are the critical issues in that particular research problem. And then you go and investigate, find solution for that, and we call it as problem solving, or the new solution which you have got, or unique solution which you are going to propose for your research, right? So the three reasons why you want to conduct research is: first, you should have inquisitiveness; second, you must be able to formulate a good research problem; and the third thing is you have to have a path where it takes you to a unique solution or a feasible solution. So the main ingredient in all these things is passion, right? If you are not passionate enough in a particular domain or a research area, that inquisitiveness will not come. You won't be able to formulate a good research problem, and you won't be persistent enough to find a solution for the for that research problem, right? So passion is the base for the entire thing, for doing any kind of research. Research doesn't mean that you are working towards your degree. It need not be just for your master's or research programs, but anything which you are passionate about, if you want to learn more and you want to find quick and good solutions those things also will come in this particular bracket, right? So the pyramid starts from the base, which is passion. And once you have passion, on passion, you can build, you have to have certain characteristics. One is inquisitiveness. So once you have passion, you should have inquisitiveness to go and search for information, get information, and identify certain research problems. And you have to be positive in your attitude. So these are known as research attitudes. Once you look at a particular problem problem statements or problem formulation, then how positive are you that it is a critical problem, and you will be able to find a solution. And what is the path you are going to tread to find that particular solution? So that positive attitude will lead you to the persistence towards your goal. Right? And the third is dreamers. Dreaming is once you are into a research, you have to, you might have heard this lot many times, that you have to think big, right? You have to dream big. Dream big is nothing but the final goal may be very far, or it may be a pinnacle of a mountain, right? But the positive attitude will drive you towards the passion, inquisitiveness, and positive attitude will drive you towards that particular goal. So dreamers are the people who dream big. They want to solve bigger problems, but the steps they take is step by step, right? They learn step by step, they implement step by step, but their goal is to do something big. Also, this particular pyramid, we can differentiate the researchers in three different categories as well. Inquisitive kind of researchers are the one who have the idea, who want to do something with that particular research idea, but they don't know how to go about it, right? They are beginners, and they don't know what are the etiquettes of conducting research, but they want to do something, right? The second level, which is positive, is they have the research idea, they know the how to go about it, they have done some kind of formulation and research, they have got some results, but they don't know how to publish, or where to publish, or what are the ethics in publication and those things, right? Dreamers are the one where they have learned all these initial stages. They have the results, they know, they have done their homework for where you want to publish, what you want to publish, what are the research ethics which have to be followed, publication ethics which have to be followed, and they know how to go about publishing as well, right? Those are the top category. So this particular talk is for the beginners and the mid-level, wherein you have the inquisitiveness, you know the idea, you know the research idea, you know how to implement it, right? But how to publish, where to publish, and what are the ethics you have to follow in publication is what I'm going to talk about. But going through this journey of research, ultimately what you are going to achieve is the satisfaction, right? It's a long journey, starting from your research idea to finding a unique solution, or coming up with a solution which is acceptable for the entire community, right? Research community, academic community, or industry community, whatever. By the end of doing all this, going through the drill, what you achieve is satisfaction. So we all work towards getting that kind of satisfaction. So what is the motivation? Motivation is, it's a hard journey, but we will learn step by step, build brick by brick, earn penny by penny, and we ultimately, having a positive research attitude, we achieve our goals, right? So that is the basic motivation. So some spoilers. This talk is not on how to do research, how to write a paper, what research process to adopt, or patenting. So that's for another day. We are not going to talk about that. So this talk is based on where to publish and what are the publication ethics. And why it is important. If you look at the Indian scenario, this was published in Telegraph, I think few years, 1 or 2 years back, wherein they told that the kind of publication which India has is something like this. So we have total number of publications, out of which we have papers which have been retracted. I'll tell you what is retraction is all about. If you find any fraud or errors or something like that, so you have 2047. I mean, this was I think couple of years back. 2047 publications which were found ethically wrong, and out of which there were errors or other reasons which were 32%. 43% was restricted because of fraud or suspected fraud, and you have plagiarism, which is 9.8%, and then you have papers which restricted because of duplication, either of data or anything. So we are not the only one, but there are other countries, and notably China is one of them, which has a large amount of plagiarism and duplication. But we are also there, right? India is also there, so which we must be aware of. And again, if you look at Wiley publication, this was in 2019. Up to 2018 is what they have released the data. And if you look at the data, the number of publications which are quoted here, and the number of retracted papers, or number of fraud or unethical papers which have unethical means of research findings, is what is shown in this orange bar, right? So there are so many research papers which this is not for India, but it is world over. So there are so many research papers which do not follow the publication ethics, and because they don't follow publication ethics, the journals or certain publication will ask the authors to retract their papers, to take back their papers, or to remove their papers from publications, right? So it is important to know not only where to publish, but what are the publication ethics one has to follow. So where to publish? We have journals and conferences. We are familiar with many of this. What I give are only pointers of which are the factors which leads to good publication, either in journal or conferences. So there is something called as publications for impact and publications for self. Right? Publication for impact is the one wherein you publish for making some impact in the community. So it may be because you want many people to know about research, and many people to quote your research articles, as well as to also to make your own name in that particular area, right? Publications are for self is the one wherein you are not bothered about others, whether they refer to your paper or whether it is impacting the society or whether the results make any sense or not. But you want to go and just publish because you want to increase your publication numbers, right? So publications for self is it is just for your own sake. I mean, you want the number of publications to be put on your resume or something, so you want to publish. But for publication for impact is the one where you are publishing because you want to be known for certain work or certain kind of work. So what we have to concentrate on is publications for impact. And so if you want publications for impact, then you should know where and what to publish. You have heard this adage, publish or perish. Publish or perish, I mean, it has been there for decades now, which just says that if you don't publish, you are going to perish in teaching academia, right? In academia, you have to publish or you will perish. So that was the adage which has been there since long. So what to publish? You have to apply your wisdom. So you can publish small research projects, which are known as pilot studies. You can publish thesis findings, which is substantial in nature. Thesis findings is not only for writing the thesis, but whatever substantial results you have got from your research, that can be published. And you can publish critical review of literature. So you have read through a lot of literature and you have your own perspective of putting a summary of that literature is what is critical review of literature. And you can publish critical analysis of popular concepts. So there are some certain concepts, you have your own analysis about that concept. You can go ahead and publish critical analysis of those popular concepts as well. So depending on the type of work you want to publish, you have different types of publications, right? Short papers or conference papers are the one where you have small research projects, you have pilot studies, you want to get some kind of suggestion for your further findings. So you want to go ahead and publish it as a short paper. So short papers can be published in conferences, it can be published as articles, short articles, right? So you have ways of publishing short papers small research projects. And then you have substantial findings which you want to publish. It can usually go as research papers in journals. And usually it will be around 6,000 to 12,000 words. Short papers are around 3,000 to 4,000 words, or it will be somewhere around 4 to 5 pages. And research papers are the ones which have up to 10 to 12 pages, right? Review papers are the one wherein you have critical review of literature and you want to publish as review papers. There are review journals which publish these kind of critical reviews. And you have popular concepts which can be published as position papers, or if you have your own concept, which is an idea which you have not implemented, or you want to just present those ideas, you have position papers which can be published as well. These position papers can be in major conferences, or it can be even in certain magazines, research magazines. Now the adage has changed. Now they call it as publish and perish. You may publish, but if you don't publish it rightly, then that also may lead to perish, right? So where to publish is very important if you want to survive this particular research process, right? So where to publish, you have to be very cautious. There are plenty of conferences, plenty and more. Journals, there are plenty of journals. There are magazines. There are letters, research letters. There are book chapters. So in all this, when I say you have to be cautious, what you have to look at is whether there are properly indexed, whether it is conference or journals, whether it is properly indexed by reliable agencies, and whether they have some kind of impact factor. Impact factor, again, by reliable agencies, right? And there are red alerts when you look at the publication. So red alerts are, you have to be aware of these terminologies. There are paid journals, there are open access journals, there are reviewed, no review journals, there are fast publications wherein within a day or two or within a week, they are going to publish, or they claim to publish within a few days, and the high impact factor claims. All these are red alerts. So if some journal says you have to pay for it, you should be cautious. If they say open access, you have to be cautious. If there are no reviews sent to you, or reviews which is minimal in nature, like the article is good, or some formatting errors, so these are all the reviews which doesn't make any sense, right? So minimal reviews or no reviews, again, it's a red alert. If they say we are going to publish within a day or two, again, it's a red alert. And if they claim high impact factors, that also is a red alert. So you have to go back and check whether really you want to trust those journals or conferences to publish your work. So how to choose a conference? Finding a right conference is a tedious task because there are n number of conferences which happen. So if you want to choose a conference, you please choose a conference which is specific to the area of research. When there is a general conference like conference in mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, electronics engineering, and computer science, that doesn't make any sense, right? So if you want a right kind of feedback, if you want right kind of input to your research, if your idea has to be accepted, and if you want to gain confidence in your research, then you have to choose conferences which will make that particular impact on you, right? So you have to go and choose a conference which is relevant to your area of research. And the next question when you are choosing a conference, whether it is right for you or not, is who is going to publish your paper. It can be in proceedings, or it can be from major publishers, but you should know that ahead of time, before you submit your research paper to a conference, that who exactly is going to publish your paper. So if it is proceedings or publisher who have the proceedings can be from, again, good publishers, or they can be publishers who come out with special issues for this particular publication, this particular conference. They have to be reliable publishers, right? They have to have certain kind of good history behind them. So if the conference is associated with those kind of publishers, then it is good. Then what is the review process they adopt? Whether it is single blind or double blind. Single blind is where the reviewer knows about the authors of the article. Double blind is the one wherein neither the reviewer knows about who has authored the paper, nor the authors know who is evaluating or reviewing his paper, right? So most of the conferences do fall into these categories, single or double blind. And majority of the conferences which are highly reputed follow double blind double blind reviews or review process. You also have to check number of years and the reputation of the conference, TPC and organizing committee, which institution is conducting this particular conference, and all these factors, right? And as a researcher, it's better you list top 5 conferences in your area and aim for those conferences. It may be difficult to in the beginning. It may be difficult to publish in those conferences, but it's always better to submit your research articles into those conferences so that you get right kind of feedback for your work, and you can improve on that so that it will help you in your research process as well. One very important thing is looking at indexing. I'll come to indexing later, but what is meant by indexing is this has become very important nowadays, because most of the agencies who either accredit your institutions or people who are going to review your your thesis or any such research activities, they do look at reliable indexing databases. So, for example, Scopus is one of the indexing database which is widely popular, and many people accept the indexing database of Scopus. Web of Science is another database which is widely accepted as a good database. So any of these conferences must be at least affiliated to one of these indexing databases. Your paper has to appear in those databases. Be cautious about predatory mails. We do get a lot of mails, right? And you should be cautious about the mails you get claiming a lot of, I'll tell you what is predatory means, but telling a lot of lies about or not being honest about the publication, etc. And of course, apply wisdom in judging a conference. And of course, also, if you are asked for reviewing your, being a reviewer for the conference or being an organizer for the conference or speaker for the conference, you have to pay attention to what kind of conference you're getting into. So choose cautiously those kind of positions as well. How to choose a journal? So finding the right journal again is requires time and energy. There are quality of there are characteristics of a valued journal or a good journal, and all these qualities, all these characteristics have to be judged. So you have to invest time and energy. Even one prestigious publication in right journal per year is a great thing to happen, right? Instead of having n number of publications in wrong journals, it's better to have one publication in a right journal, right? So how do you find a right journal? If the journal is not refereed, and if they say that they are going to publish within a day or two, that's not a right journal for your research article. It may be faster for you to publish, but it is not going to be good for you or good for your career as well. We do face, we all work in some kind of pressure in environment where we require to publish in journals, but being cautious about which journal is going to publish your article is very, very critical. Once you publish an article in a journal which you are not, you don't feel good about, or later it is not going to help you in any way in your career or in your research, then you can't even retract your paper as well, right? All your effort is gone waste. So it's very, very important to find out whether the journal is right or not. So spend substantial amount of time to get into the journal, look for the profile of editors, team, the quality of articles which is published, who are citing these articles, and whether it is indexed, whether it has impact factor, etc. And this is something which I keep telling, avoid editors that work slowly. There's no point in submitting an article to a journal and it is taking 1 year, 2 years for giving reviews. So if editors don't respond to your submission within few months, maybe 2 months or 3 months, and then probably it is not worth to wait for a long time, right? Unless you know that the articles do take that much amount of time in some of the journals, right? So you check the quality of journal. If the quality of journal is very high and the amount of time it is going to take, I mean, in most of these journals, they do publish the time frame when the article was received, when the article was reviewed, when the article was published, right? If you look at the time frame, you know how it works. So based on that, you can decide to look into whether you can submit your papers to those kind of journals. So mostly all these things applies to the mid-level journals. Top-level journals, anyway, they do have a lot of articles which are submitted. It takes time, maybe 6 months to 8 months. But some of the middle-level journals take around 3 months to review an article. 3 to 5 months is what they take to review an article. So low-esteem journals may be a trap. Avoid. There may be you may get mails and other things by low-esteem journals, and be cautious about predatory mails. So again, when you are choosing any kind of positions in these journals, you must be careful. So looking at the countries leading the world in scientific publications, China, this was from 2018 again. China is leading, next is US, next is India, right? We are in the third position as far as number of papers which are published in concern. So quantity versus quality is one thing which we must be worried about. India is the third major contributor in terms of scientific publications. We are in news because we are third, but good or bad is a concern. To some extent, it is not so good because ethical and plagiarism issues are major concerns in many of our publications. That's the reason why AICTE, UGC came out with a lot of measures for looking at the ethical issues and plagiarism. So we all have to understand what are the ethical issues and what kind of publications is relevant for us. So avoid publishing in predatory journals. That's one main or major caution which we have to look at. So what are predatory journals? I have been using this word for some time. So recognizing, how do you recognize a predatory journal? Without providing detailed reviews, charging publication fees, that becomes a business model for them. So the publication fees is the one which brings in a lot of profit for them. So they may not be worried about the ethical issues or serving the society. Misuse of the concept of open access. Many of these journals which do charge publication fees says that they, because they are open access, they are charging the fee. But there are journals which may charge publication fee, but ethically they look at your articles, review articles, and give substantial feedback to you, and they'll make it. You can choose. They'll give you a choice for either going for open access or for going for subscribed journals. So those kind of open access is a different thing. But these predatory journals make it compulsory for a publication fee, and that's the reason why I say they are misusing the concept of open access. So the aim of these journals are one is monetary benefit, the other one is financial gains. So there is a beautiful article which was written by Jaffrey in BEOL, Scholarly Open Access, in January 2015. It is known as Criteria of Determining Predatory Open Access Publishers. And he gives certain pointers for how to find out a predatory journal, right? Superficial reviews or no reviews, fake editorial board where the owner of publication is the chief editor, missing affiliations of board members, lack of transparency in publishing operations, boastful language, false claims about impact factor, spam mails for paper submission for or reviews, and they do not ask for any copywriting, or they don't do proofreading of your submissions. So these are some of the pointers. Any researcher should go back and read this particular article, right? He gives a list of predatory journals, predatory publishers, and misleading metrics as well. The claims, the metric claims which the predatory journals claim, it may be impact factor or it can be any other metric. He says how those metrics are misleading as well, right? So there are these articles which are there. You can go and visit these particular URLs. So that is about publication. Coming to ethics, there are ethics for publishing as well. Many of us know about this, and sometimes knowingly or unknowingly, we may not follow certain ethics. So one is authorship. So who should be an author? So the list is defined there, right? There should be a substantial contribution from the author, and the author should involve in drafting the article or revising the article, and then the final approval for submission also should be done by the author, right? So if a person involves or a researcher involves in all these three activities, then he can be given an authorship. So even if one of those activities are missing, then it is not worth to be an author as such. So there are two types of problems in authorship. I mean, there are many other ways in which there are unethical authorships which are there, but these are the two major types of problems in authorship. One is known as gift authorship, wherein you include a person as an author because he is in hierarchy above you, and there are some expectations and favors, and because he is a colleague who can include your name in his publication, and you are including his name in your publication, right? You scratch my back, I scratch your back, kind of thing. So again, gift authorship, if the authors are not involved, it's a fraud, it's unethical, so you should not do that. Then ghost authorship is the one wherein one of the above things are missing. In most cases, somebody, if they say that they go through your article and give some feedback, maybe to correct your English grammar or probably formatting and other things, they can be acknowledged, but they are not authors, right? There are, again, ghost authorship, which is given for some people who, I should not say this, but who just suggest where you have to publish, or which conference or which journal and other things, and they may demand authorship. So that again is a ghost authorship. Or an author who is not present because you are not attending a conference. If someone is attending a conference and they will say they will present your paper on behalf of you, if you include them as authors, that again is a ghost authorship, right? Because they don't know anything about the work, or they have not involved in the work at all. So again, all these are unethical in nature. So as a researcher, we should be aware of these things as well. So other things, these are a bit more common in the sense duplicate submissions. Unknowing, many people not knowingly or unknowingly, they do resort to this kind of publication unethical means as well. Duplicate submissions are the one where you submit the same paper in two conferences or two journals, or a journal or a conference simultaneously, right? You are not supposed to do that. Whenever you submit a paper, either to a conference or a journal, you do agree that you are going to submit this particular paper has not been submitted elsewhere or not being reviewed by any other agency or any other publishers, right? So duplicate submission is unethical. Split publications are the ones wherein you use the same study, same data, you do slight variations in the data and publish it as two different work. So that again is a unethical means. When you are publishing, you are supposed to give full disclosure of how the study was made, what are the data which have been used, and how you are going to, what are the results you have got, how you have interpreted those results. So that should go as one publication. Sibling publications are the one wherein you have related papers submitted to different journals, but you don't tell, you don't reveal the papers which have been submitted elsewhere, right? And there is no cross citation which you use. So that again is a sibling publication. So again, which is unethical. A good publication practice is the one wherein you have full disclosure, full citation, full discussion of your related work, etc. So these are some of the don'ts: no replication, reproducibility, and data theft or intentional misinterpretation. No replication is do not replicate your paper and submit duplicate versions. And reproducibility is if you have done some work, it must be reproducible. The results must be reproducible. If you are going to do again the same the kind of experiment, the result which you are going to get should be similar or same, right? That is what is reproducibility. So any research should pass the reproducibility test. And data theft and intentional misinterpretation is the one wherein you take the data from somewhere else and use that data and misinterpret some of the data because you want to get good result, right? That again is unethical. Whenever a review is given, if it is not in your favor, the first reaction, I mean, for anyone, the first reaction is the reviewer didn't understand my particular work, right? That's the first reaction. But believe me that all the reviewers are experts in that particular area. Whenever a journal sends a paper to a reviewer, they look at the background of the reviewer, their publications, and how long they have been publishing, and then only the reviewer is chosen. So when the reviewer with his expertise and with his experience gives some kind of feedback, initially you may feel bad because a paper has been rejected, but give it some time and then go back and look at your review and you will respect those reviews. If you adopt those reviews, your paper is going to be better, right? So please respect the peer review comments as well as the analysis. Avoid negative consequences. Because a paper is not accepted somewhere else, you take an easier route and give it to some other predatory journal or some other insignificant um, uh, event. So it's going to be a waste. So better to work on, again, rework on the on your paper, and again submit it to a conference or a journal of relevance. Faking data is another thing. Modifying data is, I mean, we all know it is unethical. So faking data and omitting data to make your results look good, again, is unethical. Once you do that, the reproducibility test will fail, right? So you won't be able to reproduce the same result, and that will degrade your work, as well as you lose confidence on your own work. So you should be very careful when you are doing your analysis, collecting your data, and interpreting your results. So AICTE came out with some of the guidelines for plagiarism. Plagiarism has been taken as a serious matter now, and we all know that there are rules and regulations to which has to be followed to see that the work is not plagiarized. So cite all references, including your figures and tables, wherever you have taken it from. Use good tools. Authenticate is one of the Turnitin and check for plagiarism, or some of the tools which are which give good report. And if you don't follow these things, and later if your work is amounts to plagiarism, then it can be retracted, and it may have a lot of consequences, right? So last few slides, I think I'll take another 2 minutes and wind up. Whenever you do a submission, please see that you track your submissions. In majority of cases, what we do is we do the submission, but later if it is not accepted or something, we just put it in a cold storage and then leave it, right? So the work which you have done to go through the article, to get some results and submit a paper, all those things will go waste. You have spent considerable amount of time on doing that, and then it should not go waste, right? So whenever you submit an article, you keep track of what is the status of the article, whether it has been accepted, rejected. If it is rejected, what are the reviews you have received, and then whether you can go back and correct those results, or you present it in a better way, and then send for again submission, either in the same journal or in a different journal. So all these things have to be tracked. So maintain a calendar and track your submissions. Citations is very important. So whatever references you use in your articles, you have to have proper citation of references. So widely used styles are Harvard and Vancouver citation styles. There are more than 30 citation styles which are available. So you can go back and read all those citation styles as well. So impact factor, JCR impact factor by Thomson Reuters is the one which is which is widely accepted as the impact factor. So JCR impact factor is the one which have to be used. Thomson Reuters now is taken over by Clarivate Analytics. So they calculate impact factor in a particular way, and they have a large amount of journals and articles, thousands of journals and articles under which they do the comparison and get the impact factor. Indexing is one more thing which has to be kept in mind. So Scopus is the popular indexing body which indexes many of the journals and conference articles. So it is not only for scientific and technical community, it is for articles of medical and social sciences as well. Web of Science is the other one, which is also known as SCI. So you have more than 12,000 journals which have been used for indexing in Web of Science. So these are the major, I mean, for technical technical researchers, these are the two major indexing bodies wherein your articles have to be indexed if it is of any significance. So last two slides. So the trivia, please don't use, I have seen many of these publications wherein doctor, professor, Mr., those kind of prefixes are used. So please do not use any of the prefixes if you are an author of a publication. It is strictly no. Order of authors is important. Please decide about the authors depending on the contribution. So order of authors is important. And citation of references. All the references which you have to be referred in your article, as well as you have to properly cite. You go back and look at what is the style which you have to use for citation. Each journal may specify a kind of style for citing the references, but the citations have to be clear and full citations. So these are some of the, I won't go through this. So the last slide, what is required today? We have to be open for multidisciplinary research culture. Now, most of the solution which you can find, there are basic science research which happens, but most of the research work requires multidisciplinary approach, right? So developing a multidisciplinary culture, research culture is very, very important. So we must be open for multidisciplinary research culture. We have to find collaborators within and outside your university, and collaborators will play a very important role in bringing different perspective for your research idea. And once you interact more, better ideas will emerge, and that will influence to a large extent the solution which you are going to find. So the major thing which you have, major takeaway is, please be alert which kind of publication, where you are going to publish, and be very careful when you are choosing the right kind of publishing medium, right? Whether it is conference or journal. So that was my time. So I'd like to end this note with this particular quote: benchmark best practices of research and explore strategic collaborations with industry, research, and academic institutions if your work has to be significant for your research community. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Hello.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. Dr. SUDARSHAN T.S.B. from PES University, the Dean Research, has narrated the importance of research and publications and ethics. On behalf of AUDISANKARA group of institutions and my chairman, Dr. Venk Panchalay Garu, Vice Chairman, Aravinda Garu, and my director, Honorable Director, Mohan, and principals, CEO, and heads of the department, on behalf of all, I am really thankful to you for covering all the subjects, all the topics without forgetting even a single topic, right from passion and satisfaction by showing the pyramid and publication impact and self-satisfaction and publication or perish, the viability, sustainability of every faculty and its contributions and different alerts, especially against the predatory journals. And the main theme behind conducting these programs, my management wanted to strengthen the research and development across the nation, right from the grassroots level. Being having this aim, we have already started and got approved MSME, and recently by Atal Community Incubation Center for allowing public to do research and make more scientific solutions on the societal problems and include the same and publish the same and make more solution for the scientific development. I thank uh, from the management side, and the main aim to conduct these type of programs is to strengthen and inculcate more R&D culture across the uh, academia. And also, I have seen more than 372 participants participated across the different states I have seen. This makes us the enthusiasm, curiosity of the teaching community during this lockdown period. And I request all the people should follow up, because the guidance, whatever he has given, especially on single blind and double blinded research journals and ethics and databases and how to select research papers and which paper, which journal is the best chosen journal, how to present, everything he has covered. I am really very thankful you, sir. Uh, uh, my HODs, my management is thanking you, and I am personally also thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. And I request all the audience, whoever contributed, will receive e-certificate within an hour from our college. I especially thank CSC department for making this program as a more successful and making more wide to across the nation to people to hear very golden words from the Sudarshan sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sir, ఏంది సార్